Okay. So, Kai, you mentioned one of the things outside of the commercial side. You've made it very clear commercial isn't part of your focus, but adoption is. So
Yes, it
that
is.
means that I need to put on my other hat. Always got to change the hats, right? So I'm going to put on my metrics hat, my adoption hat, and so I've got my metrics going on here. And so Kai, when we talk about adoption, how do you measure adoption at MariaDB?
So I'm afraid I will have to give the same answer. I just said none, and then now we say we don't. So of course, that's a very sort of shorthand answer. One way to answer it is we often face this, or sometimes at least face decisions where we have to, where the implication of our decision is, will we know exactly how many or how few users we have, or will we have many users but not be aware of how many they are? And we pick the latter. So measurement metrics is not the highest of our goals. Adoption is. And then, of course, you can say, well, how do you then know whether you succeeded? And you would be right with that objection. You would clearly be right about that objection. But I'm afraid there's not so much more that can be said. We have indirect measurements, so like how many websites are there out there, and what's the percentage of them using MariaDB? And then you would have a follow-up question saying, well, okay, so MariaDB is used on website, but what about other places? And then we come to an area which is much less measurable, like how many MariaDBs are running on Amazon, on Azure, on Google. And I would be really, really interested to know an exact number, but there's no way of getting that. So you are a super fan of FOSS metrics, but I'm not able to satisfy your fandom.
But you can because here's the thing: it's not always about these hard counts. A lot of times, it's about the things that you look at and goal as a company, organization, foundation. So I am sure, Kai, that you have some things that you're looking at doing, whether it's we want to speak at so many events, or maybe it's you want to look at website traffic to the MariaDB org properties. Even if it's not a direct adoption, there has to be some things that you're
looking
at?
There are many such things like DB ranking and our traffic and all of those. There are such metrics, and they are indirect, and they help us. I also would go a lot with anecdotes, like what does my mom's cousin say about MariaDB? If she doesn't know what it is, well, that's a bad measure. That's a bad metric. If she says that she read about it here and there and know something about what it is, well, then it will probably have a brand recognition that helps.
Yeah, and I think that here's what I found with a lot of projects, and this is not just commercial organizations. This is a lot of projects who struggle with that adoption question, right? Maybe they look at repository metrics. So how many code contributions, which are great, or how many things, that doesn't necessarily show the usage growth or the adoption. So they're struggling, and they're looking at maybe a group of metrics that directionally point to growth. Right.
Yeah. So one of those measures to give you a very serious and hard answer is looking at Jira and looking at GitHub. So looking at how those contributions grow and how they are being dealt with, and like votes on Jira items. That's a way for us to know what people really wish for. Now, like those stars that come out of those, they absolutely